Hi, a lot's been written lately about water quality at Kings Beach here in Lynn and Swampscott. Especially with the summer season on its way, we can expect to see red flags out warning people to stay out of the water. So I'm here today with Chris Mancini of Save the Harbor, Save the Bay to discuss the issue further. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, Seth. Thanks for having me.
So, from what I understand, there's a source of pollution in Kings Beach, a brook called Stacy Brook, that you could actually see where it exits when you go down to the beach. And your advice would be to stay out of that water?
Absolutely. Yeah. Here in the Boston metro area, we have some of the cleanest urban beaches in the country. And unfortunately, Kings Beach continues to lag behind some of our other regions' beaches as a result of the outfall that comes through Stacy's Brook. And we've identified the problem. We have a great collaborative group from both Lynn and Swampscott working together to identify the issues. But it's a time-intensive and probably cost-intensive process. So whereas you could perhaps go down to Revere Beach or even just around the corner to Nahant Beach, and if you look at Save the Harbor's most recent water quality report card, which we put out every year based on the previous year's data to get a sense of how overall clean is each of our beaches. You'll see that Lynn's Beach at Kings and also Tinian Beach down in Dorchester continue to lag behind. But specifically up here, yeah, that brook, which looks like a kind of a fun creek running across the beach at low tide, right on the Lynn-Swampscott line, is Stacy's Brook. And in general, stay out of Stacy's Brook.
What are some of the sources of pollution in Stacy's?
Yeah, originally there was a combined sewer stormwater, and about 20 years ago, the city of Lynn invested millions of dollars in separating the combined sewer overflow system. So it's gotten a lot better since then, but the stormwater bacteria that you get from stormwater runoff, and because we're in a big urban area with old systems, you have older cracked pipes, so you get groundwater that leaks into the system, and so that's coming out there. You also might have a new construction. Someone builds a house and they're digging down, they accidentally put the sewer system into the wrong pipe. They look very similar. And so it's not intentional, but we constantly have to be going and inspecting those pipes. It's one of the things Lynn Water and Sewer Commission is in charge of and that they do. The city of Lynn has hired consultants and contractors right now who are doing IDDE work, one of my favorite acronyms. It's illicit discharge, detection, and elimination. And you just gotta constantly be exploring, going up those pipes, honing in on where you might find increased pollution coming from, again, a cracked pipe or an illicit connection.
That sounds like something that has to be ongoing.
Yes.
And so
that's ongoing for any major metropolitan area.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. What about major projects? I think it was Senator Crichton who identified some funds recently.
Yeah.
How would that be applied?
Yeah, any chance we get to thank Senator Crichton for finding those funds, $5 million split between Lynn and Swampscott. I mean, some of the projects that are going on right now, like I just mentioned, the IDDE work in Lynn, the town of Swampscott has been lining the pipes. In Swampscott, the issue is these older cracked pipes. In Lynn, it's more likely these illicit connections. So both the city and the town are working slowly but surely on addressing those issues. And that funding, they're still trying to decide exactly what to put it towards, but it is intended to reduce that source pollution from the pipe.
Are there any other sources of pollution we should be concerned about besides what we find in Stacy's Brook?
On the swimming beach, that's really the main issue. Because if you compare to South Boston's beaches, for example, and the only reason I bring up South Boston's beaches is because they had a similar issue. There was an outfall on the beach. $180 million investment to eliminate that pipe and send it all to the Deer Island sewage treatment plant, resulted in now having some of the cleanest urban beach in the country, right there in South Boston. The complicating factor with our situation up here is you have, in addition to the sewer and stormwater systems, you also have a natural occurring brook. So you have natural water flow, which is going to be you have groundwater that collects, and it all ends up down in that brook. So you have some naturally occurring bacteria. You have animal waste that accumulates from all over the city and the town, and it's just an ongoing process. So there is a steering committee looking at into the more technical side of, in addition to identifying the sources of the pollution, other methods for getting that flow off of the swimming beach.
Where else would it go?
It's really early days. And I can't really I'm not making any recommendation here, but some of the ideas that have been discussed in the past are, can you extend the pipe? That's a more expensive construction project, but it keeps pollution in the water, but gets it off the swimming beach. In the past, there's been, depending on the amount, you can chlorinate and dechlorinate the water. Now you have, again, pros and cons to everything. You could have,
sure.
There's issues with now adding chlorination as a contaminant in the water if the dechlorination process is not perfect.
Sure. When I was a kid and I found a brook in the woods somewhere, I stepped in it, I ran in it. Should I have not done that? I mean, you mentioned some natural phenomena that could lead to pollution on the beach.
Yeah, I mean, you got to remember, we're in an urban area, and we say at Save the Harbor a lot, this is usually in regards to when we're working on a grant proposal or something, the perfect is the enemy of the good. So we want to get things almost perfect. I think if we live in a major metropolitan area, we live in a city, we're not in a pristine, untouched beach in the middle of the ocean, something like that. The idea is to get these beaches clean nearly every day. But right now, Kings Beach is closed more than once a week as a result of the situation here. So that's what we want to keep focusing on.
Okay, it's always struck me that red flags would be up and I'd see people in the water. Is that a problem? How do we get people to pay attention to the flags?
What we've called out in our press release is also an issue with the flagging system. The way that the test works to find out if there's bacteria in the water is that test actually takes 24 hours to run. So on the best day, if you get your result, you're still looking at yesterday's water quality. So in an ideal world, you should be able to look up, see a red flag and go, gosh, that means the water quality is low and I shouldn't go in. You should be able to look up and see a blue flag and go, hey, water's clean today, I'm gonna go in the water. Again, most of our beaches, I'll point to Nahant, which is just really close by, clean darn near every day of the year. So a lot of this is tied to the weather. If you look at our report card, water quality everywhere in 2021 was down overall. We had one of the wettest Junes and Julys in memory. And that amount of rainfall is gonna push contaminants into the water, and you're going to have a spike on those days. So rule of thumb, look if you had a heavy rainfall, give it a couple tide cycles before you go into your beach.
I see. So it dissipates fairly easily, especially if Nahant Beach is clean.
Right. Yeah, that's a really great point. We test in 4 places on Kings Beach, and at the mouth of Stacy's Brook, it's almost always, you would never swim there. It's almost always contaminated. But just down at the end by Red Rock Park, you've got a much higher percentage of clean water. And again, if you look over at Nahant, that usually ranking in the 90s. It gets an A most years.
Okay. And you had some things coming up that you wanted to share with us.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a great program called the Better Beaches partnership with the Department of Conservation and Recreation. And next week, we're going to be giving money out to organizations from Nahant and Nantasket for free events and programs on our beaches. And we'll be investing over $20,000 here in Lynn to some great organizations like the Friends of Lynn and Nahant Beach. They're bringing their children's concert series back and the fireworks for the 4th of July or the 3rd of July this year. And North Shore Juneteenth Association is a really great partner. They do a number of events all over the city all year round, but they're bringing back their Diversity Matters Festival. The North Shore Women of Color Association doing a workout series, plein air painting, free painting classes on the beach. If you go to Save the Harbor, we'll have our calendar up in the next week or so, and you'll be able to see all the free events that are happening. So get down to the beach, come and join us out there. But look at those flags before you go in the water. But also remember, they're at least 24 hours old. So
Right. Well, thanks again, Chris Mancini, Executive
Seth.
Director of Save the Harbor, Save the Bay, for joining us today.
Absolutely. And I'll see you on the beach.
Great.